Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
A suspect in custody in the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, will face the possibility of the death penalty if convicted in the assassination.
The suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
I look at everything we know about Robinson, how he was caught, and why he would have done this. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. The man who murdered Charlie Kirk in cold blood is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. That's according to the governor of Utah and the FBI. Utah's governor says Robinson was taken into custody at 10 p.m. Mountain Time. That's midnight Eastern Time in Utah. Robinson's arrest comes after two men were detained, questioned, and released in the hours after the shooting. Robinson faces 3 state charges: aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice in a capital or first-degree felony conduct. An affidavit contains a lot of details that the governor went through in a press conference. More on that in just a second. Robinson was apprehended after a 33-hour manhunt. President Trump actually announced that the suspect was in custody on Fox News Friday morning, saying someone very close to him turned him in. And we now know that Tyler Robinson's family was instrumental in getting himself to turn himself in. President Trump said a minister was also involved in talking with the family.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes.
Law enforcement says Tyler Robinson is the man in these surveillance images wearing the black Land of the Free, Home of the Brave t-shirt, jeans, and Converse tennis shoes. He's carrying a black backpack. Thursday night, officials released video of Robinson jumping off of the roof of a building at Utah Valley University after they said he shot Charlie Kirk. But he wasn't a student there. Robinson actually attended Utah State University in Logan, Utah back in 2021. A spokesperson told me he was there for the fall semester and studied pre-engineering, but he didn't return to campus in early 2022. He had a scholarship, according to a video that his mother had shared.
Congratulations, you have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000. This scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
Robinson was actually currently attending a technical college in the electrical apprenticeship program. Governor Cox says that Robinson arrived on UVU's campus at 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, driving a gray Dodge Challenger, wearing a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. Thursday evening was actually a pretty critical time period in the search for the shooter. Here's Utah Governor Spencer Cox.
When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages. including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique.
As a breaking news reporter, I live a really active lifestyle. Whether I'm running in and out of the courthouse or chasing down interviews, it's really important that I find a way to be comfortable while also looking professional and polished. For comfort and style together, there's no better place to look than Honeylove shapewear and bras. Honeylove's bras are made with a specially designed bonding technology that lifts without the use of a painful underwire. Their shapewear, it's just as impressive, with targeted compression designed to enhance your curves, but not squeeze or roll down. Now, what I think makes Honeylove really special is that they are an independent, woman-founded brand with products designed by and for the women who wear them. Every woman deserves bras and shapewear that are easy to throw on while also elevating both her style and her confidence. So why not treat yourself to the most advanced bras and shapewear on the market? Right now, you can save 20% off Honeylove at honeylove.com/crimefix. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off. That's honeylove.com/crimefix to find your perfect fit. Now, after your purchase, they ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Experience the new standard in bras and shapewear with Honeylove.
Now, that rifle was recovered in a wooded area near campus. The governor also detailed what was engraved on the bullets and shell casings.
So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Right now, Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old man, is being held without bail in the Utah County Jail, and we're working to find out as much as we can about him. We know that he went to USU back in the fall of 2021. He did not come back because he took a leave of absence, although federal guidelines are prohibiting the school from saying why he left. We know that he had some level of intelligence. His mother bragged about his high ACT scores on her Facebook page. The score showed that Tyler got a 34 out of 36, which is incredibly high. His mom's a social worker, and she wrote on Facebook about that. "This boy is a genius, and I'm hoping he'll pick a Utah college and stay close to his mama. He killed the ACT and has a 4.0, so his options are endless." Neighbors told USA Today that the family attends the Church of Latter-day Saints. Tyler Robinson doesn't have a criminal record, and his voter profile shows he was inactive, so he hadn't voted in recent elections. Utah Valley University was the first stop of 10 college campuses on Charlie Kirk's national The American Comeback Tour. Thousands of students gathered to listen to Kirk debate students as he sat under a tent marked "Prove Me Wrong." And this was part of what Charlie Kirk did. He went to campuses and debated students. He told those who didn't agree with him to come up to the mic and talk. I spoke with Chad Ayers, a former SWAT team member and founder of Proactive Response Group, before the arrest, and we talked about how hard this has hit those who protect high-profile individuals, how the investigation was unfolding rapidly, and what he expected to happen when an arrest was made. I want to bring in Chad Ayers. He is the founder of Proactive Response Group. They specialize in active shooter responses and training and things of that nature. So, Chad, your thoughts, first of all, on the FBI. You know, we've seen at least 3 persons of interest identified. This is a hot, active investigation.
It sure is. I mean, Angenette, yesterday when I got the call, actually, a producer from a national outlet was the first to call me really before any of this hit. And I'm actually in Florida working a protection detail as we speak. And obviously it hits close to home. It absolutely just breaks my heart for the entire Erica and the entire family. And I think it's also important to Angenette as we look at this and we realize everything that the people in the crowd witnessed, that law enforcement dealt with. But I do want to make sure that your viewers understand the trauma and the emotions that are filled with Charlie's protection detail that's been with him for many years, that were right there. And obviously, in a situation like this, from a lone attack, from a far distance, a sniper initiated type of attack, it's very hard. We saw it in Butler, Pennsylvania. But again, there's just a lot of hurt. Obviously, we have an ongoing investigation. My hope is that we do get full transparency from Kash Patel and the FBI. It's frustrating that we still don't even know a lot about crooks from Butler. So I'm hoping that we get transparency from the administration, from the agency on this. Obviously, photos are circulating now, but it's a tough day in our line of work and our business.
I want to talk about the threat to Charlie Kirk because I spoke to a friend of his, and a Turning Point board member, who said they always feared something like this could happen and that he did have security. He did have a detail, but he didn't get things like Secret Service protection and things of that nature. So this was a concern. He received threats. So these are very real concerns. And it happened. It happened with cameras rolling.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We can put contingencies in place. Obviously, Charlie was a voice for the conservative movement and the MAGA movement. And Charlie, let's be honest, full transparency here. Charlie probably was one of the top 2 most influential people in the election, and hitting the college campuses, being out there talking to our young adults, our young students about this and his values. He's a great man of faith. I have a lot of respect for Charlie. But with that, obviously, you have people on the other side that don't agree with that. Look, part of being an American is, the freedom of speech. But with that, it's very disheartening and disgusting that when you don't agree with someone's faith or political beliefs, and again, we don't know really anything yet about the motive of the shooter, but it does bring this attention. It's disgusting that anyone would resort to murdering a husband and a father over their political beliefs and their thought process.
The FBI has said they've been able to track this shooter's movements. They know that. They have a palm print. They believe they've recovered the weapon. They have footwear impressions that they're analyzing. It sounds like they believe they know the path of travel that this shooter took. And now, there's a photo circulating. So they have a lot that they're going on. And now they're trying to find that person. Somebody knows who this person is. I mean, he has a mother, he has a father, he has friends and family or people who know him. And now the Wall Street Journal is reporting that there was some engravings. This kind of almost reminds me of Luigi Mangione. There were some engravings on the shell casings about, anti-fascist views and things of that nature. So that's all a lot. That's a lot to go on.
We do know that there was some type of ideology and hatred based on what was written on some of the ammunition and magazines. Look, we just saw this. It's almost like this was a copycat attack with some of the verbiage from the Catholic school shooting 2 weeks ago. Some of the same verbiage is being written on these shell casings. This was a well-coordinated and planned out attack. It's going to be interesting through this investigation to see, was he local or did he come in from out of state? Was this someone that may have been following Charlie's tour on some of these stops, doing their own counter surveillance in a sense, surveilling how does his security detail operate? Where are some of these locations? Where's his next location? Did he go early in advance? Obviously, it tells me that he knew exactly where to go. He did his homework. And this isn't someone who just woke up yesterday, poured a cup of coffee, grabbed their hunting rifle, and just randomly found a place. This person did their homework. They did their reconnaissance on this. And unfortunately, they took the life of a great mentor and influencer.
Let's talk about the gun they've talked about. It was a bolt action rifle, high-powered rifle. I mean, this person did not miss. This wasn't like Crooks with President Trump where he grazed him or hit his ear and, he thank goodness missed the main target. This person made their shot. What does that tell you about this person?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm on Twitter, and I'm very selective today. Full transparency on what I'm watching on Twitter. The video that was, obviously of the incident. My beliefs, first of all, those videos need to come down. I watched it one time. It's the worst video I've ever seen in my career of law enforcement. I will never look at that video ever again. Charlie has a family. He has children. The videos need to come down. Back to the rifle. Bolt action rifle. And again, some of this hasn't been confirmed yet, but I did read something that was the brand was a Mauser 30-06, a gun that's commonly used for hunting. And so a lot of the social media people out here saying this is a trained assassin. Absolutely not. I'm not saying this is a trained assassin or someone who had a bunch of experience. I can take, my little nephew who's 5 years old, and if I have the right optic or scope for your viewers on there, 200 yards with a hunting type rifle, it's nothing. I mean, even for someone who doesn't shoot firearms, in a matter of about 10 minutes, I can get you hitting your target from that distance. That's not a long way. I know for the general public, that seems like a far distance to take a shot. It's really not.
Wow. So you could just be a hunter. You could be somebody who's an experienced hunter or even a semi-experienced hunter. And in your view, maybe with a sight or a scope or whatever, make this shot. And I'm not trying to talk about this to glorify what this person did, but I'm just talking about what kind of skill level would need to be involved to do this.
Exactly. This isn't going to take a lot of training to operate. Anyone who probably grew up hunting or around firearms, this is a chip shot for them, to say the least.
What do you think we're going to end up learning about this person once he is captured? Because it's only a matter of time.
Look, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on. I'm tired of hearing the term, there's no room in this country for political violence. There's no room in this country for violence, period. We are Americans. It's time that we cut the crap and figure out how to come to common ground. You understand, overseas, China and all these other countries, they want to see a civil war in this country. They love the fact that these parties are just arguing and fighting and the division that's happening in this country. It's got to stop. It's disgusting. I'm sick of it.
So what's going on at the FBI crime lab right now?
A lot. Obviously, we have the firearm. There's going to be touch DNA on that firearm. There's going to be touch DNA where he lay down, where they had that palm print. So, they're going to be running these prints to see if this person's ever been arrested. Do we have anything on file with these prints? With the DNA, I'll be honest, I'm sure the Bureau has resources with these third-party companies like 23andMe and Ancestry.com, where they can, with a warrant, send this in and probably get immediate results to see if we have a DNA match with any family members that may have submitted DNA to one of these types of genealogy testing. But, it's almost like the whole Brian Kohlberger thing and how he was discovered. It was through DNA, on the knife sheath and things like that, which I know you covered quite a bit. And but so the FBI is going to be compiling all that DNA evidence, the rifling. So obviously they will be taking the rifle to their crime lab and running ballistics on that. If a projectile was recovered on the scene, which it does not appear by the gruesome video that, it looks like the round went all the way through Charlie. And so I'm sure the crews are on the ground with metal detectors and other technology trying to locate that projectile. At that point, and I am no forensic expert, to say the least, but what they can do is inside every barrel of these rifles is what's called rifling, right? And so it basically imprints, that bullet imprints the rifling of that barrel, and then they are able to match the projectile and say, yes, this round, the experts will be able to say this round was fired, if it is located, fired through this firearm. Same thing with the DNA. So obviously a lot of moving parts, a lot of agencies working together on this. And that's the thing. Our law enforcement partners today on 9/11 are in Utah, in a sense, working the same way they were doing on 9/11 in 2001. They've come together like they do in every one of these horrific events. They partner up and they say, we are going to find this subject and make sure justice is served. That's what's going on.
They're going to find this person. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And we'll be on it when they do. Chad Ayers, thank you so much.
Thank you, Angenette.
Now, Tyler Robinson is being held without bail and will be for the foreseeable future. At this point, this is a state prosecution. So we'll have to see whether or not the feds actually pursue criminal charges. Robinson is the oldest son to his parents. He has 2 younger siblings. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.